Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my February wrap up, all the books I read in the month of February. So I feel like I'm saying it weird, February, if you know, you know. I have all my physical books that I read this month. All my physical books that I read this month, and I of course have my Goodreads handy, and so we are just going to go down the list of what I read in the month of February. Okay, now I'm like way too conscious of that word. Ever since their like update, it is always a challenge trying to figure out the books that I've read this year. Okay, I found it, guys, don't worry. I think it's just better going to read versus like going to your challenge. I think I figured it out. The first book I read this month was A Man Called Uwe, and I always thought it was A Man Called Ove, but it's actually Uwe, and I listened and physically read this. My friend Allison lent me this book, so I'm actually really excited to be able to give this copy back to her. But yeah, this is my first full-length novel that I've read by Frederick? What? It is the first full-length book I have read by Frederick Backman, or Bachman, however you say it. And this was incredible. I really need to watch the movie. I think there's two of them. I think there's an American version and a Swedish version. And I think Allison and I kind of talked about watching it together since she's the one that gave the book to me and recommended it. But yeah, this was five stars for me. It was so... I don't even know how to explain it. I don't think I've ever read something about a old, like, first off, my generations of reading is usually people between the ages of like 18 to 25, honestly, within my like age demographic. And so it was really like, I don't know if refreshing is the right word, but it was really interesting to have a completely new perspective and not only just perspective age-wise, but like continental-wise. Like this takes place in Sweden, I'm pretty sure. It's in Kermajun. I don't know, I'm sorry, but it was really lovely. I really did enjoy it. It is a literary fiction novel. I think I'm pretty sure I teared up at the end. I want to see. Yeah, I teared up. I teared up several times, but like at the end I was like, I think I like shed a tear. But anyway, I do really recommend this. I can't wait to read Beartown. I really want to read Beartown just because I think that would be, you know, a good book. I've heard so many good things about it, and I've heard that you can read it. This is not a TBR video. We don't need to get into it. Anyway, everything that I've read by this man has been perfection. I absolutely recommend it. If this is on your TBR, put it up higher. Prioritize it, please. Okay, moving along. Next book I read was Barbarian's Heart. This is a really big shift, but I believe this is the 9th book in this series. I am reading them as they come out in the special edition prints. At this point in time, there's only one other scheduled to release, and that's going to be in April. So we'll see if I'll continue this series or how long my reading vlogs for these go. But I think I rated this 3 stars. I think I rate all of them 3 stars because they're pretty standard. They're fun. Like, they're a quick, easy read. I know I'm going to finish it within like a day or a couple days, and honestly I do think the science fiction is pretty interesting, but like there's definitely issues with that, and I acknowledged it. And I will say the further we get along into the series, the less like smutty the books are. So just, yeah, 3 stars, that's all I have to say. I have another physical book, but Anna is currently reading it, so I'm actually not going to get it. But I read Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I did rate it 5 stars. I will say this book gave me less 5-star feelings than her other novels, but it was still a 5 stars. Just I love her. Or actually, wait, no, I rated it 4.5 stars. Okay, that was the difference. Is like I said, it didn't give me the full 5-star feeling, but it was still really fun, and I thought it was interesting. And I will say it really wasn't as bad as I feel like it made it out to seem. It was definitely one of her more spicier novels. Like, if you don't like, what is it, Not in Love, which was a little bit more spicier, you're not gonna like this. I'll just say that. You're not gonna like it. That's it. But for me, 4.5 stars. I enjoyed it a lot. And the print that I got it from Barnes & Noble, and it had really cool sprayed edges, which was kind of cool. But yeah, I read that one. 4.5 stars. I don't know what my plot jumps are, but the next book I read was 1984 by George Orwell. My goal for the month of February was to kind of read pinkish, orangish books on my physical TBR, which is behind me, and I read this and I think I rated it 4 stars. Yeah, I rated it 4 stars. I can't believe it took me this long to read it. I thought it was incredibly relevant to the current ongoings of the United States. But anyway, thought that was pretty interesting. I will say the main character is really unlikable. You're not gonna like him. He's awful, and I think he's supposed to be. And just like the ending was so crazy to me, and there's like, I don't know, I don't want to spoil it too much, even though this is literally a book from like 80 years ago, but it was really good. And I do want to watch the movie because they did film it in 1984, which I wanted them to, and they did. So I do want to watch it. I feel like it'd probably be like a boring movie. Not boring, but like, you know, it's not like My Fault London, you know? So anyway, 1984, 4 stars, read it. Really good, really relevant. I'm glad I read it. A fun book that I started in the month of January, or I didn't start the book in January, I started the series in January, and that is the 3rd and final book for Emily Wilde's, I think it's just called the Emily Wilde series, but this is the 3rd one, and it's called Compendium of Lost Tales, and I rated it 5 stars. This is one of my favorite series. I think it'll stand the test of time. At least like we're only entering into the 3rd month of the year, but this one, I loved it. I think you guys need to read it. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's so cozy. I love the romance between Wendell and Emily so much. I love it. I know this is bad, but I did compare them to Draco and Hermione, like very different, but like the vibes are there. I don't know how to explain it. Like if people are Draco and Hermione fans, let me read this and let me know. Tell me what you think, because I need to know. Somehow I will find a way to bring up Draco and Hermione in any video. Any video I will bring up Manacled. I will bring up Draco Malfoy in the Okay, I need to stop. Never mind. We're stopping. We're stopping and we're moving on because we only have 2 books left. So let's talk about the book that I read in one of my reading vlogs, and that is The Wake Up Call by Beth O'Leary. Again, this was one of those themed books where it was pinkish, but I actually really enjoyed this. I rated it 4 stars. It was really interesting, dynamic, set in the UK, which I love all of Beth O'Leary's novels. As far as I've read 3 of her books, and they've all been set in the UK, and I love a British novel. I don't know what about it. I love the slang, I love the descriptions. I'm just a London girly at heart. That's why I'm marrying someone named London. Okay, that was just a joke, but anyway, I did really like this, and the main character in this, Lucas, was from Brazil, and he spoke Portuguese, which I'm learning Portuguese, so that was also really fun. But yeah, this was just a really sweet, like, kind of miscommunication, but it was done really well. I really enjoyed it. Usually I hate Usually I hate miscommunication, but I thought it was done really well within this. Like, it seemed really real, like it would actually happen, but they got off on the wrong foot, and so they kind of have hated each other for the past year. And so I really liked it, and I would recommend it. I still think my favorite book by her is The No-Show. Like, I just remember that, like, giving me so many, like, deep emotions that I feel like that's one of my favorites, but this one was very good. And I know I have one other book on my shelf by her, so I can't wait to read that. And then I think I'll have read all of, maybe I'm missing one. After I read that, I'll have read all of her backlist except for one book. But anyway, that one was really fun, and now we're moving on to the last book of the month that I read, and that is Onyx Storm. And I actually thought this was kind of disappointing. I rated it 3 stars, and I'm gonna read my review. This book was ... disappointing. I really enjoyed the last 150 pages. It was intense, the plot was plotting, and emotion was pouring out of me. The issue? Well, only the last 150 pages, and maybe the first like 30 pages actually included a progressing plot. I hate that this didn't give me the best feelings, but gosh, the last bit really did get me into this. I really do hope the last of the series wins me over. Crazy interesting ending. So, as that review says, I just feel like for a majority of the length of this book, nothing was actually happening. I kept on explaining like things were happening, but this was the plot. This is a plot line, and it was like right here, and it was just staying there until the last 150 pages when it went like this. I don't know, like a book shouldn't be like that, I don't think. I mean, I've never written a novel, so I don't know, but as a reader, that was kind of a downside. But I am glad I read it, and I will be continuing the series. I mean, I've read 3 out of 5 books. I'm gonna continue. I need to know what happens. But anyway, that one was a little bit disappointing. I was expecting more from it. Anyway, but those are 6 or 7 books. Hold on, let me count again. I think I have 5 here, and then I think I talked about 2. Yeah, so I read 7 books, which I'm pretty happy with. This was my first month. I know I keep on bringing it up, but I recently started a full-time position, 8 to 5, 40 hours a week. You know, if you know, you know. And so I was worried that my reading would go down, and maybe I just got lucky and it will go down, but 7 books is pretty good. So I'm happy with this spread. We read 3 out of 6 books that were on my TBR for last month, I'm pretty sure. Like the one that I set for February. But oh well, you do what you do, and they're still on my TBR. I'll get to them eventually. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you read any of the same books that I did, or if you have any interesting reads that you read that I should add to my TBR. I really shouldn't add to my TBR, but you should let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace and love. Bye guys.